Hello and welcome to Fluent English Journey. I am very happy that you're here with me today. Thank you for choosing this channel to help you improve your English skills. I hope you are feeling calm, comfortable, and ready to listen, learn, and grow with me. In this channel, we always try to bring you lessons and topics that are useful for your daily life. At the same time, we help you practice your English listening and speaking. So before we begin, take a deep breath, relax your body, and get ready to learn something new. Today we are going to talk about a word that may sound new or difficult to you. The word is rumination. You may have never heard this word before, but do not worry. I will explain it slowly and clearly so that you can understand it easily. Rumination is something that many people do, even if they do not know this word. It means thinking again and again about something, usually something that makes you feel sad, worried, or upset. It is like your mind cannot stop thinking about one thing. You might keep remembering a mistake you made or a problem that happened in the past. You might keep thinking about something that made you feel bad. When your mind keeps turning the same thought over and over, that is called rumination. For example, imagine you had a small argument with your friend. Maybe you said something you did not mean to say. After the argument, you feel bad about it. You start thinking about it again and again. You think, why did I say that? You imagine what your friend might be feeling. You think about how you could have spoken differently. You cannot stop thinking about the conversation. That is rumination. Here is another example. Maybe you made a small mistake at work or at school. It was not a big mistake, but you still feel bad. Instead of forgetting about it and moving on, your mind keeps going back to it. You think about what your teacher or your boss thought about you. You might think you are not good enough or that you always do things wrong. Even when you are at home or spending time with your family, your mind keeps returning to that same thought. That is also rumination. Now let us think about why this topic is important. Rumination can affect your mental health in many ways. When we think too much about negative things, we feel unhappy and stressed. Our brain becomes tired because it is always busy with the same thoughts. We cannot enjoy the present moment because we are either stuck in the past or worried about the future. This kind of thinking makes it harder to relax or to focus on what is happening now. When we understand what rumination is, we can start to stop it. We can learn how to let go of thoughts that are not helping us. We can learn to focus on positive things and on the present moment. Doing this can make our life better, calmer, and happier. Listening to this lesson will not only help you understand what rumination means, but it will also help you improve your English. As you listen, you will hear simple and clear sentences. You will learn new English words in real examples, which will help you remember them better. You can also repeat some of the sentences aloud. This will help you practice your speaking and pronunciation. By listening carefully and practicing regularly, you can become more confident in English and also learn how to manage your thoughts better. So let us begin this learning journey together. Take another deep breath and get ready to explore the topic of rumination in a calm and easy way. Rumination is something that everyone experiences sometimes. It is normal to think about the past, but when we think too much, it becomes unhealthy. We should learn to notice when we are doing it and remind ourselves to stop. We can do this by talking to someone, writing down our thoughts, or doing something that makes us feel relaxed, like going for a walk, listening to music, or reading a book. Remember that thinking is good when it helps us solve problems, but it becomes bad when it only makes us feel worse. Learning to let go of unhelpful thoughts is an important part of feeling peaceful and happy. So from today, try to be kind to yourself. When your mind starts to repeat negative thoughts, gently tell yourself to stop and focus on something positive instead. Thank you for being here with me. I am proud of you for taking time to learn English and also to take care of your mind. Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep growing every day. This is also rumination. It happens when your mind gets stuck on one small mistake and makes you feel bad again and again. Sometimes rumination is about things that happened in the past. You might think about something that happened a long time ago, but you still feel sad or upset about it. For example, maybe you remember a time when someone was unkind to you. You can still hear their words in your head, and it hurts you again even though it is over. Or maybe you think about a chance you missed. You keep thinking that you should have done something or said something different. You tell yourself, if only I had done that, things would be better now. This kind of thinking is rumination too. You cannot change the past, but your mind keeps bringing it back. Each time you think about it, you feel unhappy again. Rumination keeps you trapped in old memories that cannot be changed. Rumination can also be about the future. You might think again and again about something that has not even happened yet. For example, maybe you have to give a speech or go for a job interview. You keep thinking about what might go wrong. You ask yourself, what if I fail, or what if people laugh at me? You start to imagine all the bad things that could happen. This is also rumination. When you do this, you worry so much that you feel nervous and stressed even before the real event takes place. The problem with rumination is that it feels like you are doing something helpful. It feels like you are trying to solve a problem or find an answer. But in reality, rumination does not help you at all. It does not give you new ideas. It does not make you feel better. It only makes you feel more tired and more unhappy. When you ruminate, your mind keeps moving in circles. You go over the same thoughts again and again, but nothing changes. You think you are finding answers, but you are only going in the same direction. Instead of finding peace, you feel more worried, sad, or stressed. To understand this better, let us imagine something simple. Think about a cow chewing grass. The cow chews the same grass many times. This is how cows digest their food. The word rumination actually comes from this idea, from the way cows chew their food again and again. But when people ruminate, they are not chewing grass. They are chewing the same thought again and again in their mind. Just like old grass, these repeated thoughts do not give us anything new. They do not help us grow or feel better. They only take up our time and energy. The more we do it, the more tired we feel inside. It is important to remember something. It is normal to think about the things that happen in our lives. It is okay to feel sad, worried, or upset sometimes. These feelings are part of being human. But rumination is different. Rumination is when we cannot stop thinking about something that hurts us. It is when our mind keeps replaying the same thing, even though it only makes us feel worse. Rumination keeps us stuck in one place. It stops us from enjoying the present moment. It makes small problems feel very big. It takes away our peace of mind and our happiness. When you hear the word rumination, think about thinking too much. It means thinking in a way that does not help you. It means thinking that makes you feel worse instead of better. Now let us move on to the next part of our lesson. In the next part of this podcast, we will talk about why people ruminate. We will try to understand the reasons why our mind sometimes does this and why it can be so hard to stop. Stay with me as we continue to learn together. Now let us begin. Why do people ruminate? Many people wonder why they keep thinking about the same things even when it makes them feel bad. Why is it so difficult to stop these thoughts? These are very good questions, and I will explain them in a simple way. One common reason people ruminate is because they worry about the past. Every person makes mistakes in life. Sometimes we say things that we do not mean. Sometimes we do something that we wish we could change later. This is completely normal. But for many people, it is very hard to let go of these moments. We keep thinking about what we did or what we said. We ask ourselves again and again why we did it. We tell ourselves that we should have done it in another way. Our mind keeps repeating these thoughts, and we feel worse each time we think about them. This is how rumination begins. Sometimes we replay an event in our mind again and again, almost like watching a movie that keeps showing the same scene over and over. We think that if we keep thinking about it, we might understand it better or feel better about it. But the truth is that this kind of thinking often makes us feel worse. It brings more regret, more sadness, and more stress into our mind. One common reason people ruminate is because they feel regret. Regret means feeling sorry about something that we did or something that we did not do. For example, maybe you had a chance to do something, but you did not take it. You wanted to apply for a job, but you were too afraid and now the opportunity is gone. Or maybe you wanted to say something kind to a friend, but you stayed quiet. Later, you keep thinking about it again and again. You start to wish you could go back and change what happened. You feel regret, and that regret stays in your mind. This is how the cycle of rumination begins. We think and think, but we cannot change what has already happened. The past is gone, but our mind keeps holding on to it. This only keeps us trapped in sadness. Another big reason for rumination is fear of the future. When we think about what is coming, we sometimes feel scared about what might happen. We ask ourselves questions like, what if I fail? Or what if something bad happens? Our mind starts to make stories about the future, and many of those stories are full of worry, danger, or mistakes that have not even happened yet. For example, if you have a test next week, you might keep thinking about how difficult it will be. You might imagine that you will forget everything or do very badly. If you have to give a speech, you might imagine people laughing at you or judging you. These thoughts keep going around in your head again and again. Even though nothing bad has actually happened, your mind makes you feel as if it already has. This is rumination about the future. It steals your peace today because you are too busy worrying about tomorrow. Sometimes people ruminate because they are trying to solve a problem. At first, this sounds like something positive. It feels like we are thinking deeply and trying to find a solution. But the truth is that rumination does not help us solve problems. Instead of finding real answers, we only go around in circles. We think about the same problem many times, but we do not take action to fix it. This makes us feel stuck. We may believe that if we think more, we will have more control over the situation. But in reality, this kind of thinking only brings more stress and more worry. Rumination can also happen when people feel that they have lost control. When something bad happens and we cannot change it, we sometimes keep thinking about it because we do not know what else to do. For example, maybe you lost your job. You feel sad, worried, and unsure about the future. You cannot change what has already happened, but your mind keeps going back to that moment. You keep asking yourself why this happened to you or what you could have done differently. Thinking about it again and again gives you a small feeling that you are doing something useful, as if you are trying to fix the problem. But sadly, it does not really help. It only makes the pain stay longer. Sometimes people ruminate because they feel hurt by others. Maybe someone said something unkind or treated you unfairly. Your mind keeps returning to that situation. You think about their words and actions. You ask yourself why they did that or how they could be so rude. You might even imagine what you should have said in that moment. This is another kind of rumination. The pain from what happened keeps bringing the same thought back again and again. Lastly, rumination can also become a habit of the mind. Some people get so used to thinking too much about everything that it becomes part of their daily life. Their mind is always looking for problems, danger, or mistakes. This habit might come from past experiences, especially if someone grew up in a stressful or unsafe environment. When a person lives with worry for a long time, their brain learns to always look for possible trouble. So even when things are fine, their mind keeps working and worrying as if something bad might happen soon. Rumination is not your fault. It is something the mind learns over time. But the good news is that it can also be unlearned. When we understand why we ruminate, we can start to change how we think. We can learn new ways to calm our mind, to stay in the present moment, and to let go of thoughts that only make us feel sad. Sometimes it becomes a habit to think very deeply about problems, but not in a healthy way. Over time, this habit can grow stronger, and then rumination becomes harder to stop. As you can see, people ruminate for many different reasons. They may worry about the past, fear the future, or regret something they did or did not do. Some people ruminate because they feel hurt by others or because they feel they have no control over a situation. And sometimes, people ruminate simply because their mind has learned to think too much. But whatever the reason, the result is always the same. Rumination keeps us stuck. It makes us feel sad, worried, or tired. It does not give us peace or comfort. The good news is that once we understand why we ruminate, we can begin to learn how to stop. We can learn to train our mind in a new way, to think less about problems and more about living in the present moment. That is what we will talk about next. So stay with me as we continue to explore this important topic together. Now let us talk about how rumination affects us. As we said before, rumination means thinking too much about something, usually something that makes us feel bad. But how does this kind of thinking really change the way we feel and live? Let us look at this more closely. First of all, rumination can make us feel sad. When we keep thinking about bad things that happened in the past, or when we worry too much about the future, we start to feel unhappy. For example, you might keep thinking about a mistake you made or something that went wrong in your life. The more you think about it, the more upset you feel. Your mind brings back all the old feelings from that moment, and even if it happened a long time ago, it can feel fresh again. Instead of helping you feel better, rumination pulls you deeper into sadness. It is like carrying a heavy bag that gets heavier the longer you hold it. Your heart starts to feel heavy too, and it becomes hard to smile or feel good about life. Rumination can also make you feel worried and anxious. When you ruminate, your thoughts often go to things that could go wrong. You imagine bad situations that might happen in the future. For example, if you have an important meeting or a big test, your mind may keep thinking, what if I fail, or what if people think I am not good enough? These thoughts go around and around in your mind. They make you nervous and tense. You may even start to feel the worry in your body. Your stomach might hurt, or your heart might beat faster. You may have trouble sleeping because your mind is too busy worrying. The sad truth is that most of the things we worry about never actually happen. But when we ruminate, our brain believes that the danger is real, and that belief makes us feel more stress and fear. Another way rumination affects us is by making us feel very tired. When your mind keeps thinking about the same problem again and again, it uses a lot of your energy. Even if you are sitting still and not moving your body, your brain is working very hard. It is like your brain is running on a treadmill that never stops. This kind of thinking can make you feel exhausted, even when you have not done any physical work. You may wake up in the morning feeling like you did not rest well because your mind was busy all night. You might feel that you have no energy to do your daily tasks or to enjoy your day. This tiredness can make you feel even more sad or anxious, and the problem of rumination becomes even bigger. Rumination also keeps us from enjoying our life. When your mind is always busy thinking about the past or worrying about the future, it becomes very hard to live in the present moment. For example, you might be sitting with your friends or your family. They are laughing and talking, but you are not really there with them. Your body is there, but your thoughts are far away, stuck on a problem. You miss the chance to enjoy that moment. Or maybe you are outside on a beautiful day. The sun is shining and the birds are singing. But you do not really see or hear these things because your mind is too busy thinking about your worries. Life gives us many small moments of joy, but rumination can hide those joys from us. We do not feel the happiness that is around us because our thoughts are somewhere else. Another effect of rumination is that it makes small problems feel very big. When you keep thinking about a small mistake or a small worry, your mind slowly turns it into something huge. You add more and more thoughts to it, and soon it feels much worse than it really is. For example, maybe you forgot to reply to a message from a friend. It is a small thing, but if you ruminate about it, you might start to think that your friend is angry with you. You might even tell yourself that you are a bad friend. The problem grows in your mind and feels much bigger than it actually is. This kind of thinking can make you feel bad about yourself. It can make you lose confidence and believe that everything you do is wrong. Over time, rumination can even affect your relationships, your work, and your happiness. It stops you from seeing things clearly. When we understand how rumination affects us, we can start to see why it is so important to stop. It does not help us heal. It does not make us stronger. It only takes away our peace and energy. But the moment we begin to notice our thoughts and understand that we are ruminating, we take the first step toward freedom from it. It can become a habit to think deeply about problems, but not in a good or healthy way. When this happens again and again, the habit of rumination becomes stronger. Over time, it can become very hard to stop. As you can see, people ruminate for many reasons. Some people worry about things that happened in the past. Others fear what might happen in the future. Some people feel regret about what they did or did not do. Others feel hurt by someone or feel like they have lost control of their life. And sometimes people just get used to thinking too much because their mind is always busy. But no matter the reason, the result of rumination is almost always the same. It keeps us stuck in the same place. It makes us feel sad, worried, or tired. It takes away our peace of mind. The good news is that once we understand why we ruminate, we can start learning how to stop. We can find ways to bring calm and peace back into our minds. Now let us talk about how rumination affects us in our daily lives. Rumination means thinking too much about something, especially something that makes us feel unhappy or uncomfortable. When we do this often, it starts to change the way we feel and live. The first way rumination affects us is by making us feel sad. When we think again and again about bad things from the past or worry too much about the future, we begin to lose our sense of joy. For example, if you made a mistake in the past, your mind may keep bringing that memory back. The more you think about it, the more upset you feel. Even if the event happened a long time ago, it can start to feel new again because your thoughts keep bringing back the pain. Instead of helping you move on, rumination pulls you deeper into sadness. It is like carrying a heavy bag that becomes heavier the longer you hold it. Your heart feels heavy, and you may find it hard to smile or enjoy life. Rumination can also make you feel worried and anxious. When you keep ruminating, you often imagine things that could go wrong in the future. You might picture bad things happening, even though they have not happened yet. For example, if you have a big test or an important meeting coming up, you might keep thinking, "What if I fail?" or "What if people think I am not good enough?" These thoughts go round and round in your head and make you feel nervous. You might even feel sick, lose sleep, or find it hard to relax. The sad truth is that most of the things we worry about never happen, but rumination tricks our mind into believing the danger is real. This causes more stress and tension. Rumination also makes us feel tired. Even though you might not move your body much, your brain is working nonstop. It is like your mind is running on a treadmill that never stops moving. This kind of mental activity can make you feel exhausted, even if you have not done anything physical. You might wake up in the morning feeling tired because your mind was busy all night thinking. You may find it hard to focus on your work or enjoy the day because your energy is gone. This tiredness can make you feel even more sad or worried, which makes the problem of rumination even worse. Another effect of rumination is that it can stop us from enjoying the present moment. When your mind is busy thinking about the past or worrying about the future, it becomes hard to live in the now. For example, you might be sitting with your family or friends, and they are laughing and talking, but you are not really there. Your body is with them, but your mind is somewhere else, thinking about your worries. You miss the joy of the moment. Or you might be outside on a sunny day, but instead of enjoying the warm sunlight or the sound of the birds, you are lost in thought about your problems. Life gives us many small and beautiful moments, but rumination can hide them from us. Rumination can also make small problems feel big. When you think too much about a small mistake or a small worry, it can start to feel like a huge problem. For example, maybe you forgot to answer a message. It is a small thing, but your mind keeps thinking about it. You start believing that the person must be angry or that you are a bad friend. The problem grows bigger in your thoughts and makes you feel worse about yourself. Because the problem feels so big, it also starts to feel impossible to solve. Finally, rumination keeps us stuck. When we spend so much time thinking about the problem, we forget to take action. We do not move forward or try new things. We just stay in the same place, thinking the same thoughts again and again. This stops us from growing and from enjoying new experiences. It can make us feel trapped inside our own mind. Over time, this can lead to more sadness, more stress, and even depression. So as you can see, rumination affects us in many painful ways. It makes us feel sad, worried, and tired. It stops us from enjoying the good things in life. It turns small problems into big ones. And it keeps us stuck in the same place. But once we understand how rumination affects us, we can start to change it. We can learn to calm our mind, let go of unhelpful thoughts, and bring more peace into our lives. Now let us move on to the next part. We will talk about the difference between rumination and reflection. This part is very important because these two ways of thinking may seem similar, but they are very different. One helps you and the other hurts you. Reflection means thinking about something in a calm and healthy way. When you reflect, you look at a situation or experience so that you can learn from it. You think about what went well and what could be improved next time. Reflection helps you understand yourself better. It has a clear purpose. You think to learn and grow. After reflecting, you usually feel calm and ready to move forward. For example, imagine you gave a short speech in class and felt a little nervous. Later, you sit quietly and think about it. You realize that you spoke clearly and that was good, but you also see that next time you could look at the audience more. This is reflection. You are learning from your experience and using your thoughts to improve. Rumination, on the other hand, is not healthy. It also involves thinking, but it does not help you grow. When you ruminate, you think about the same thing again and again without finding any answers. Your mind goes in circles. You do not look for lessons or solutions. You just keep repeating the same thoughts and feelings. For example, imagine the same speech again. Instead of thinking calmly, you keep telling yourself that you were terrible, that everyone must have laughed at you, and that you always make mistakes. You feel more and more upset, but you learn nothing new. This is rumination. So the main difference between reflection and rumination is simple. Reflection helps you, but rumination hurts you. Reflection is healthy and makes you stronger, while rumination is unhealthy and keeps you stuck. Reflection is thinking that helps you learn and move forward. Rumination is thinking that makes you feel sad, tired, or afraid. When you reflect, your mind feels calm. When you ruminate, your mind feels heavy and restless. The more you understand this difference, the easier it becomes to choose reflection over rumination and bring peace back to your thoughts. When you reflect, your mind feels clear and calm. You feel like you are beginning to make sense of things. You can see what happened, why it happened, and what you can do differently next time. Reflection gives you understanding. It feels light and helpful. But rumination feels very different. Rumination feels heavy and confusing. It makes your mind feel full and noisy, but you do not get anywhere. You keep thinking, but nothing changes. Reflection is like looking at a map to decide where you want to go next. It helps you plan your next step. Rumination, on the other hand, is like walking in circles and never getting closer to your goal. It uses your energy, but you stay in the same place. Let us think about one more example to make this even clearer. Imagine you had a small argument with a friend. If you reflect, you might think calmly and say to yourself that you were tired, so maybe you spoke too quickly. You might realize that next time you can try to listen more carefully. This is a helpful way of thinking. It teaches you something useful for the future. But if you ruminate, your thoughts go in a different direction. You might keep thinking that you should not have said those words or that you are a bad friend. You might imagine that your friend now dislikes you. You repeat these thoughts again and again. You do not learn anything from them, and you only feel worse about yourself. This is rumination. It does not help you. It only makes you sad and stuck. So remember this simple idea. Both reflection and rumination are forms of thinking, but one helps you grow and the other keeps you trapped. Reflection is healthy. Rumination is not. Reflection helps you move forward. Rumination holds you back. It is important to notice which one you are doing. When you realize that your thoughts are turning into rumination, you can gently stop and try to turn them into reflection instead. You can ask yourself what lesson you can learn rather than what mistake you made. This change in thinking can help you feel calmer and stronger. Now let us talk about how to stop ruminating. I know it can feel difficult to stop your thoughts when your mind keeps going back to the same worry or memory. Sometimes it feels like you have no control over it. But the good news is that there are simple things you can do to help your mind let go and feel peaceful again. Let me share some easy ideas that you can try in your everyday life. One simple thing you can do is to write your thoughts down. When your mind is full of worries, it can feel heavy and crowded. But when you write your thoughts on paper, your mind begins to relax. You can take a notebook and simply write what you are thinking. It does not have to sound perfect or beautiful. Just write exactly what is in your head. When you write, it is like moving the thoughts from your mind onto the paper. This gives your brain a rest. You can look at your thoughts and see them more clearly. Sometimes, when you see your worries written down, they start to look smaller and less scary. Writing can also help you see whether your worries are real or just your imagination making them bigger. So next time you find yourself ruminating, take a few minutes to write your thoughts. Even a few sentences can make a big difference. Another helpful thing you can do is to talk to someone you trust. When you ruminate, your thoughts stay inside your head and keep going in circles. But when you talk to a friend, a family member, or someone kind, it can help you break that circle. When you speak your thoughts out loud, they start to lose their power. The person listening can comfort you or help you see the situation in a new way. Sometimes, just sharing what you feel is enough to make you feel lighter. You do not have to face your worries alone. We all need support, and talking is a simple way to find it. You can also try to focus on the present moment. Rumination often happens when our mind is stuck in the past or worried about the future. We think about what went wrong yesterday or what might go wrong tomorrow. But when you bring your mind back to the present, rumination starts to lose its strength. You can do this in small and simple ways. For example, look around you and notice 5 things that you can see. Maybe a tree, a book, a chair, or the light in your room. Then listen carefully to the sounds around you. You might hear the wind, people talking, or birds singing. Feel your feet on the ground. Take a deep breath and notice how the air feels as it moves in and out of your body. These small moments of awareness help you come back to the present. When your mind is focused on what is happening right now, it is much harder for rumination to control you. Another helpful way to stop ruminating is to do something that keeps your body or hands busy. When you ruminate, your mind is very active, but your body is still. So, give your body something to do. You can go for a short walk, clean your room, cook something simple, draw a picture, or play with a pet. These small activities help shift your focus away from your thoughts. When your body is busy, your mind begins to rest. Movement helps your brain stop going in circles and gives you a break from rumination. When you bring your attention back to the present, you begin to feel more connected to the world around you and less trapped inside your own thoughts. You notice what is happening here and now, and this helps your mind rest. Another helpful thing you can do is to set a time limit for thinking. You can tell yourself that you will think about a certain problem for 10 minutes, and then you will stop. You can even use a timer to remind you. When the time is over, try to move on to another activity. This gives your mind a clear boundary. It reminds you that you do not need to spend the whole day thinking about the same problem. You have given it your attention for a short time, and now it is time to rest your mind. You can also try to ask yourself better kinds of questions. When people ruminate, they often ask why questions, such as why did I do that or why am I like this? These questions usually do not help us. They keep us stuck in the same place. Instead, you can try to ask how or what questions. For example, you can ask yourself, what can I do differently next time? Or how can I make myself feel better right now? These questions are much more helpful because they move your thinking forward. They help you look for solutions instead of staying in the problem. It is also very important to be kind to yourself. When we ruminate, we are often very hard on ourselves. We judge ourselves for our mistakes and blame ourselves for things that have already happened. But this kind of thinking only makes us feel worse and keeps the cycle of rumination going. So try to speak to yourself the way you would speak to a good friend. If your friend made a mistake, you would not be unkind to them. You would try to comfort them and help them feel better. You can do the same for yourself. Say to yourself that it is okay, that everyone makes mistakes, and that you can learn from this and move on. Speaking to yourself in a gentle and caring way can help your mind calm down. This kind voice inside you can stop rumination from growing stronger. Another helpful idea is to practice letting go of the things you cannot control. Rumination often happens because we want to change something that has already happened or something that is outside our control. But the truth is that we cannot change the past. We also cannot control everything that might happen in the future. What we can control is what we choose to do now in this present moment. So when you notice that your mind is ruminating, remind yourself that you cannot change what has already happened, but you can choose what to do next. This small thought can help you feel stronger, calmer, and more peaceful. Remember that stopping rumination takes time and practice. Your mind might try to go back to the same thoughts again and again, and that is okay. Do not be upset with yourself. Be patient and gentle. Each time you bring your focus back to the present, each time you write your thoughts down or talk to a friend, you are taking a small step towards a calmer mind. Every small step matters. Over time, these small steps can make a big difference. You will begin to notice that your thoughts feel lighter and your heart feels more peaceful. Now, as we come to the end of this podcast, let us take a moment to think about everything we have learned together. We began by understanding what rumination really means. Rumination happens when we think again and again about something, especially something that makes us feel sad, worried, or upset. It is when our mind becomes stuck on one idea or problem, and we cannot stop thinking about it. We often ruminate about mistakes we have made, bad things that happened in the past, or things we are afraid might happen in the future. Rumination sometimes feels like we are trying to solve a problem, but in reality, it keeps us thinking in circles and makes us feel worse. It does not bring peace or clarity. Instead, it keeps us trapped in our thoughts. We also talked about why rumination is not helpful. When we ruminate, we do not find real answers or solutions. Instead, we feel more sadness, more worry, and more tiredness. Rumination can make small problems seem big. It can stop us from enjoying life in the present moment because we are too busy thinking about the past or the future. It can even stop us from taking action because we spend so much time thinking that we forget to move forward. Rumination takes away our peace, our happiness, and our energy. It can make life feel heavier and harder. But once we understand what it is and why it happens, we can begin to change it. We can choose reflection instead of rumination. We can choose kindness instead of judgment. We can choose to live in the present instead of being trapped in the past or the future. Sometimes rumination keeps us trapped in our own thoughts and makes it difficult for us to feel calm, strong, and peaceful. It can make our minds tired and our hearts heavy. But the good news is that we can learn how to manage it and feel better. There are many simple ways that can help us reduce rumination and bring more peace into our daily lives. One helpful way is to write our thoughts down on paper. When we do this, our minds can rest because we no longer need to keep repeating the same ideas again and again. Writing helps us see our thoughts more clearly and often makes them feel lighter. Another good idea is to talk to a friend or someone we trust. Sharing our thoughts out loud can break the circle of rumination and help us see things from a different point of view. It can also help to focus on the present moment. You can do this by noticing what you can see, what you can hear, or what you can feel right now. Even simple things like the sound of birds, the feeling of the air, or the color of the sky can bring you back to the present. Doing small activities that keep your hands or body busy can also help. You can go for a short walk, draw something, clean your room, or do any simple task that makes you feel active and calm at the same time. Another useful habit is to ask yourself better questions. When we ruminate, we often ask questions that begin with why, such as why did this happen or why am I like this? These questions usually make us worry more. Instead, we can ask what or how questions. For example, we can ask what can I do to feel better now or how can I handle this in a kinder way? These kinds of questions guide our minds to find solutions instead of getting stuck in the problem. It is also very important to be kind to yourself. Many people are very hard on themselves when they make mistakes, but being unkind only makes the mind more restless. Try to speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you care about. Remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes and that every mistake is a chance to learn something new. Tell yourself that it is okay and that you can move forward. Finally, try to let go of the things you cannot control. Rumination often happens because we want to change something that has already happened or something that we do not have power over. But no one can change the past, and no one can control everything that will happen in the future. What we can control is what we do now, in this very moment. When you remind yourself of this truth, you will begin to feel stronger and more peaceful. All of these small steps can help you stop ruminating and start feeling better. I want to leave you with a simple and positive message. You have the power to learn how to stop rumination. You can learn to let go of unhelpful thoughts. You can bring more peace, happiness, and balance into your life. It takes time and practice, but you can do it. Every small change you make will slowly lead you toward a calmer and happier mind. Be patient and gentle with yourself as you learn. Every time you bring your focus back to the present, and every time you choose a kind thought instead of a harsh one, you are taking a step in the right direction. Before we finish, I encourage you to practice speaking about this topic with someone else. Try to explain in your own words what rumination means. Talk about why it is not helpful and share some of the ideas and tips we discussed today. This will help you remember what you have learned and also improve your English speaking skills. You can listen to this episode again or share it with a friend who might find it helpful. If you enjoyed this episode and found it useful, please subscribe to this channel, like it, or share it with someone who might benefit from it. Your support helps us reach more people and create more helpful lessons for English learners like you. And finally, I would love to hear from you. You are always welcome to leave a comment or a question. Tell me what you think about this topic or share your own thoughts and experiences. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to talk with you again very soon. Until then, take care of yourself, stay calm, and keep practicing kindness towards your own min.